Welcome to Living the Dream Iowa Life. I'm your host, Hannah Nuss, and each weekday we'll share enthusiasm for what's possible and dive into the stories of Iowans living their dream lives right here in the heartland. Whether you're chasing a big goal or just looking for a little inspiration, we've got you covered. Let's change the world together. This is Living the Dream Iowa Life. Let's go. Heyo, welcome to Living the Dream Iowa Life podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Nuss, and today we are talking about the stories that root you. And I bring this up quite a bit, so if you've been here for a while, we're going to talk about it again, but in depth, because stories track throughout our childhoods, throughout our lifetime, and hopefully you were lucky enough to have some sort of literary connection, in your childhood, stories that stuck with you. And whether that was a book or a movie or a book and a movie, what are those stories and what are the reoccurring themes? And this weekend, my friends, we had in our tiny town our famous fall festival. This would have been our fourth one. The first fall festival that I threw, because I had just opened my shop and I needed to get people through the doors because I needed to sell product. And so I asked some people to run a fall festival. They said no, it'd be too much work. So I said, I'm going to run it my dang self. And so I literally just grabbed everyone that I knew. They added their own special little flares to the fall festival, and boom, we had a fall festival. Was it the greatest fall festival that's ever been had? No, absolutely not. Was I running around like a wild person? Trying to pull it all off, so much so that I didn't even get pictures, nor did I get to shake hands with all of the people that I got to be there and run something. Yeah, that actually happened. And other people came in and capitalized on all these business owners being in one place. And it was wild. My entire office was a throw and go place. I could barely even think straight when I got in on Monday, and it was all worth it. And it was beautiful and it was thrown together. And so to have this, the fourth year, where really I would say by and large, I didn't do much heavy lifting. I had my sort of event that I hosted within the festival, my own little game tent, if you will. And it was so magical, so wonderful. There were so many great things, so many great business owners there, bringing their goods to our community, some of them even free. And it was just a good fall focused family fun time, as it was meant to be from the very beginning. And also a great reminder that there are so many businesses here to support you to create this kind of community, this kind of feel. And we want you to be able to interact and engage with them when you can. So I did that work. I enjoyed all of that. And mostly I enjoyed hanging out with my sisters, and we dressed up as the American Girl dolls that we had when we were little. Yeah. And the cool thing about this fall festival is it's not actually like a costume fall festival. Costumes are encouraged, but I would say not many people take advantage of that. We did and do every year because in our minds, you're buying this Halloween costume, like, let's wear it as much as we can. Every weekend in October should involve a costume, period. And so usually we come dressed up to this event. This year we decided we would dress up, and I somehow convinced both of my sisters that we shall dress up as our American Girl dolls, and it shall be fabulous. And as I was discussing the costume with my sister, I was like, man, That wig. I gotta get the wig. I don't know where to find it. When my sister said, you already have Molly's hair. You just have to braid it. And truer words have never been spoken. So if you want to see those American Girl doll costumes, go ahead and check out my Instagram or my Facebook at Hannah Marie Nuss. And you will find them there. You will find me dressed up as Molly McIntyre. In case you want to know what that looked like, she looked about like this. That's what I looked like. Yeah, that's right. That was me. Welcome. I was Molly in this outfit. It was so amazing. It was so much fun. And then at one point, a little girl looked over and she goes, Mom, I read books about her. And I was just every hope and dream and desire that I had when clicking purchase costume, it happened in that moment. I'm quite certain. So my sister was Samantha, my middle sister, because of course she was Samantha. And my oldest sister was Kirsten, only because Addie was not a costume choice. She actually had Addie growing up, not Kirsten, but that wasn't an option. So we had to settle for Kirsten. And there we were, all three American girls living our best life. And today, I think discussing the characters that built you. And I do this when I do some kind of soul searching work with clients. It's really important to sort of root there. I don't know why it's clients. I don't people when I'm working with them. Even if we're developing a business, it's good to know these things. It's kind of good to know how you position or see yourself in this world. And even if you can't confidently say that to me, I can feel the projection of yourself as you identify with characters in stories. And that can kind of help to find a common point, because often I find when I'm working with people who maybe haven't been their most confident, sure selves, stories hold the truth. Like, this is what you aspire to be, or this is who you know yourself to be somewhere in your soul. But maybe this isn't the truth that you're living right now, but this can help me find where you're at in this world, where the real you wants to be, wants to end up. And it takes multiple stories, because we can kind of pick through who and what and when and where and what do we like about that story. Now, my most prominent characters in my childhood were Belle, for all the obvious reasons. Yes, yellow dress. Come on. Is there a more iconic Disney dress living in this land? No. Yes, you're probably saying, yes, there certainly is. There is not. You don't win, because this is my show. And I say that Belle's yellow dress is the most iconic Disney dress that there is. So you don't get to have a say today. Fight me in the comments. Dare you. Hers is the best. It's the best because it's yellow. And it's not just yellow. It's the most magical shade of shimmery yellow, almost like a satin taffeta. Oh, it's just joyous. I don't know. I don't even know what it's made of, but I do know that it is made of certain magic and joy. And if anyone ever got to wear that dress, their life would be made 100,000 times better. And they would certainly be dancing with a beast who turns into the perfect, best looking prince that would ever exist in this land, welcoming you into his castle. Now you don't have to live just outside the village with your father. You can live in this castle, which has a ridiculous amount of servants in it. Oh, Belle. Your yellow dress unlocked the whole world. What girl wouldn't want that? And so, Belle in the yellow dress. But Belle, not just for the yellow, although, come on, that's a goodie. Belle, like, dreamed of a world, found and built worlds in her mind. Right? There's gotta be more. There must be more than this provincial life. And there was. And she just was always dreaming and scheming and imagining more than what was in this little country cottage town. She could see something bigger. There must be more. And so here we are, right? Belle. What a beautiful story. Someone strong enough, a princess that sort of saved herself, right? Like, kinda. I mean, sure, Chip and then the beast in the end. But she was brave. Yeah? She went in there. She spoke words to this beast. And she was like, "You're not going to take my dad?" And the beast was like, "Raw, yes, I am." And Belle said, "No, no, well, no, you are not. He needs to be home. He can't be here. It's too cold and scary, Mr. Beast. You can't take him." And the beast, "Raw, yes, well, then what are you going to do for me?" "It's fine. I'll stay here. I can withstand your madness." And the beast was like, "Rah, fine, take him away. Take the dad away." "Oh no, don't take my dad." "But that was the trade you made, Belle, so like, don't cry about it now. Bye, Dad." He's off in this carriage that like walks. I don't know, it's a weird thing. And then the beast is like, "You don't have to stay in this tower since you're living here forever. You can go ahead. You can stay in this nice fancy room. Roar! But I still don't like you, but I kind of like you. But I don't like you at all. Go in this nice room. There's clothes there." And then Belle's like, "Oh, woe is me. I did this all to myself, but I can't even believe that I've ended up locked here. Bah!" And her situation's so much better than her dad's. She didn't even get the dungeon tower at all. She, like, got offered dinner. She had all these things. Here she is just crying on the bed. And we totally understand, we do. And then just all this magic starts happening around her. And it's so amazing. It's magical world. And then she falls in love. It's so amazing. I don't even know, right? And the beast's like, "I hate you, but I also kind of love you." Ugh, is that weird? And we're all like, "Well, it's kind of weird, but you know, oh, he's gentle. He's kind of gentle. I don't know what to think. Am I falling in love with the beast? Yeah, I guess I am. I don't know what the villagers will think about that. They probably won't like it. Ooh, we're gonna burn this castle down." I mean, what were they thinking? They were planning on burning this concrete castle down? Does that happen? Does concrete burn? I don't think concrete burns. I don't know. Maybe they were just gonna burn the beast. I don't know what everybody's obsession with burning things down. Maybe it was because most things were like straw and wood, and they probably did burn very easily, and it was probably a pretty awesome moment. Like, imagine if that was if we didn't have the internet to rip each other apart, we'd just we're so volatile now with every other word. Yeah, instead of spewing some words behind my keyboard here, I'm gonna come and burn your house down. Yeah, I don't like you, right? And they're like, "Belle, you can't love a beast, you ridiculous woman. We told you, reading your books all the time, you'd imagine some better life for yourself. That's not possible. Yeah, just, come here and marry Gaston and live your best life. That's what we want you to do in this society. And Belle said, no, I'm having none of that. I don't know what my other options are, but I know that peace and reading and my papa is much better than listening to all of you fools. And so there's a little string, okay? Belle, she's rebellious. She's strong. She stands up for what she believes in, this Belle. She does not go by the way of the townsfolk. She finds her own way. And she stands up for what she believes in. And she will love whoever she dang well pleases, whether the beast turns into a prince or not. Now, obviously, they had to rewrite that ending. They can't let that kind of thing go on here. Right? So he's got to turn into a prince. Boom, prince. Now we love this prince. This gorgeous prince. What was the prince's name? Because I only know the Princess the Beast, and I'm certain that he has a name, and I do not know it. Huh. Okay. Either way, those are all these little strings that I can pull out. Okay, she likes Beauty and the Beast. She really likes Belle. What is it about Belle? I think I loved that she was always reading. I loved reading as a kid. I loved being able to escape from the small town that I was in, just imagining that there was this bigger world than a highway lined with silos. I mean, it seemed big when you're riding your bike around it, but I knew there was more, right? I knew that. And I loved how books allowed me to explore more. And oh, I mean, that's the beauty of books. It really is. And so Belle kind of tracks every way possible for me. And then Molly, who I dressed up as this weekend. Yes, Molly McIntyre, who was essentially positioned to connect, I think it was World War II, to kids growing up in the 90s. And Molly was just a real all-American girl. Grew up in, I think, Wisconsin. It seemed like a Midwest state. Grew up, her dad was in the war, and they had to do a lot to get through as a family, and Molly just always found a way to make everything amazing. She was just a star, but she wasn't your typical, like Samantha, right? Is this prim, proper, perfect doll. And she had all the coolest accessories, trust me. My kids were just looking through the book and they were like, Samantha has so many things. Mom, why wouldn't you have picked Samantha? I'm like, Molly is the coolest. And then they flip to her pages. So they're looking at an American Girl doll book. They flip to Molly's pages and they're like, Molly has this old worn out doll. Why would we pick Molly, Mom? She has the messenger bag. She's just so unique and different. And she wasn't Samantha, who's perfect. She wasn't a Barbie who's beautiful. She was just herself. Like just this silly, happy self. And I think everything that I loved about that character was that. Just that she wore glasses. She had bangs. She just was. And there wasn't a standard of beauty that Molly had to live by. And she was so different from the other American girls. So drastically different. And I loved her for that. And I think Belle and Molly both share that similar tune of different in originality and not having to be like the other princesses. Um, and I think, or the other dolls or princesses. And I think that rings pretty true to my story and was one of the ways that I could come back to myself a little bit easier. And by the way, Molly. Oh. Nope. Of course, it's the last one. Molly also has an iconic yellow look. Don't worry. Of course she does. Because, of course, she would. She'd have to. Okay, can you focus, camera? Yeah. Changes for Molly. There she is. Iconic. Yellow. And you see how just simple she is? She's simple and in the loveliest way. And, a couple of yellow hair bows and some red galoshes. Not yellow hair bows. Red hair bows and some red galoshes. And Molly was just living her best life. And I absolutely loved her for that. And there's one other story. Hannah, which I also have here on the shelf of books that built me. Here's Hannah. And Hannah was all about this girl in 1887 who was blind. And she had a teacher come in and tell her that she could learn and she could go to school. And her whole family was very nervous about that, and everybody kind of fought it. And she just believed in something bigger. At that time, that child would have never experienced life at all, and she got to. And it was a really beautiful story about power and self and committing to yourself and loving whoever you are and figuring out how to be your best self. And Hannah's a powerful character too, because, I think it's one thing to have a teacher come in and say, hey, I really think that you could be amazing. And I think you need to be bigger than this, than your blindness. And someone can say that to you and you cannot rise to that occasion. You can go, oh no, this is the way that life works for me. My parents are keeping me here. This is just what's possible for me. It's okay. And I think parents could say that, a kid could say that, whomever could say that and kind of own that truth. And I think they fought it for a little bit. And then Hannah said, no, I think I should do it. I should go to school. I want to go to school. I know that I can do it. I am smart. I am intelligent. And so she goes. And, there's problems. But she gets through it. And she proves that she's super smart. And she does great. And I just, again, loved this storyline where we're not just accepting what is. Right? Belle, I'm not accepting that this is all that my life can lead to. That I'll be spending my days rereading all the books in the library and fetching bread for Papa, while he goes off to his invention conventions, which, why didn't Belle go too? I don't know what was going on in that town, but I think that Belle should have absolutely gone with, because she could have sold a thing or two, I feel like she could have helped. She could have helped a little bit. But for whatever reason, she had to stay home while he went to his invention things. Great. Then you have Molly, who somehow finds a silver lining in every situation and makes every situation light and lovely and wonderful. She really did. And then you have Hannah, who finds a way to make it all happen. And in all of that, I think you have three characters who are not accepting status quo, right? Belle's like, I don't want to live this life. There must be more than this provincial life. Molly's like, hey, I get it. It's the war, and life kind of sucks during the war. But you know what? I think we could still make it super cool. And I think even though I might have to hand cut our Halloween costumes, we might have to make them out of scraps. I think we can still make an awesome costume ourselves. I think we can. And I'm just going to keep bringing that little dose of sunshine and creativity to everything that I do. I'm Molly. And then Hannah, I want to go to school, but I understand that schools are not set up for someone like me. Do I give up? No. Molly, do I give up because everybody just kind of wants to be sad because it's a war? No. Belle, do I give up because I could never figure out a better life than this? I'm just going to be in bed for the rest of it. Do I give up? No. We don't give up. We dream of more and we go after more. And obviously, that's a truth that kind of tracks throughout my story, but definitely as we get to kind of the buildup of what led to the death of a dream and everything that we're doing here. And this champion mindset, this I'm not accepting less than assignment is really weaved in everything. Like, I understand that you see less for me than I do. I totally do. I get where you would get that from. I understand why you would not believe that about me, why you would not believe that that's something that I could accomplish. I do. I get it. However, when I understand myself, then I understand all. Then I understand how to kind of claim that life, that right. And these characters, these powerful characters, I think weave themselves into my storyline and help me to understand the roots of where we've been and what we've always been. Because these aren't new things that I picked up into adulthood because I was maybe, hanging out with a different friend group or had a different boyfriend at the time. Like, no, this was real and true and had roots in places that existed long before my adulthood ever did. And so these types of things can help you understand you as an adult, should you have forgotten, because it happens, I promise. We all lose ourselves once in a while. So finding those stories that you're really your childhood, or if you didn't get much of a childhood, your adulthood, where do those stories track? Because I just talked about three very different characters that all had similar sort of destinies, similar plot lines. There's a track there. It all makes sense. And so I want you to go and think about, talk about, maybe with a coworker, maybe with yourself, maybe at the dinner table tonight. What are the stories that really rooted you in life? I would say for me, certainly, it was Beauty and the Beast, the American Girl doll series based on Molly McIntyre, the whole set, and Hannah. Those are some of my more memorable stuck to stories. I would say The Lion King is probably in there somewhere. But yeah, I love everything about that. And I really want you to explore the roots of the stories that really grew you up, that made you sort of more aware of who you are and what you stand for because this person or this character was. And once you do that, you really have a better understanding of some of the things that you've probably stood for your whole life. And dreaming big was one of my huge ones. And so all these characters made perfect sense. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change them.